Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Bob Kebab, and today we're going to be talking about the death of mining. So I've talked about it before, about the best sorts of ways to mine and make the most money out of all of that. But recently, it's becoming more apparent with the rapidly crashing ore prices, as well as how much harder it is to find things like gerodium in sizable quantities around the origin stations, that people are being driven further and further out into the belt to make some money. The last time I talked about mining, I recommended newer players to go and try to find as much gerodium as they can around the belt, and the community has generally done that. Now that everyone's got a little bit of cash saved up, I wanted to throw out a new sort of recommendation. So generally the best sorts of ways to make money right now is obtaining gerodium in sizable quantities, or something like agesium or arcanium, but those are generally further outside of the safe zone, and you're not guaranteed that you'd be coming back in one piece. So to do that, you would need to find larger asteroids, or just any asteroid that has gerodium or any of these metals. But if you've gone out mining recently, you know that it's much more difficult to do that, and it's every day it gets harder and harder. Is there a better option right now? So the answer to that is actually yes, and it actually has a lot to do with what we're looking at right here. Not this ship specifically, but cargo locks. As you know, cargo locks have been around in the game for quite a bit, but maybe not used to the extent that they should be. Generally, they're kind of billed as a way to haul back broken ships or parts that you've maybe collected after a PvP fight, or maybe you have a broken ship and you just need to haul it back. Turns out you can actually also haul asteroids with these things, and maybe not so much in this ship right here in the Occam shop. Maybe it doesn't make sense too much for that. Not too big of a ship, and you probably wouldn't be able to hold enough to make it worth your while. But there is actually a ship that exists in the ship shops that you can make some solid money with. By that, I mean the Mastodon. So we've seen the Mastodon in the game for quite a long time here. This is currently in the Occam 3 shop, I believe. So this ship, it's been around for a long time, and you can tell because it's got, for whatever reason, 6 different navigational receivers that all sort of relay information at the top here, which I'm not entirely sure why. The only thing I can guess is that the ship was created before ISAN, which is pretty nutty. So that still remains in the ship shop, and it hasn't really been updated since. Also, the fact that it's got just T1 box thrusters scattered all along the ship. Reading this here, the Mastodon is a massive cargo lock frame ship designed to haul salvaged ship components, manufacture ship parts, and small-sized asteroids in its 40 by 20 by 10 cargo lock frame. Ship is using tier 1 generators and thrusters, and is able to accelerate to about 120 meters per second when empty. That's true. But warm up the generators with a max energy per second button before using the cargo frame. It's an advanced starter level ship. I will say it's a starter ship for sure. It costs a lot, but this will make you a lot of money and pay itself off very quickly. And why is that? That's because of the last part here, where it said that this is able to carry manufactured ship parts and small-sized asteroids. That is underselling it by quite a bit. This ship is able to house in each half here, like if you were to cut this right down the middle, and you would be able to put a T10 asteroid on each side. If you were able to haul it back, you could, in theory, fit about 6 of these total. So that's an insane amount. So you've captured asteroids. What does that mean? Well, when you've captured an entire asteroid, there is actually a place in the origin stations where you can sell that entire asteroid for credits. You don't get any of the ore back from the transaction, but you do get all of the credits associated with the ore. So not only does it sell the ore within it, so tritium, but it also sells all of the shell materials as well, which when you consider the fact that a T10 asteroid, a mega asteroid, has about 75 stacks of tritium in there, there's also more than double that of just the shell material, which is agitite. And sure, it may not be worth a lot, but you're easily getting 100 to 200k in credits from just the shell material. So I will say that the Mastodon in its current state can only haul about 2 of these mega asteroids. So while the Mastodon seems like a really cool option, it is a starter ship at that. It's got 48 forward thrusters that are all tier 1, and that's just not enough to haul nearly 12 million extra kilograms. And to illustrate this, this is a starter level ship. So the assembly cost is 668,000 credits, which can be a lot, but the average asteroid that you're bringing back is anywhere from 250 to 300,000, or if you get a tritium one, over 500,000. So there's a lot of money to be made if you can find these mega asteroids. Let's take the quick price from this. So we need about 2.2 stacks of Agesium, which comes out to 12,000 plus. So adding up all the different stacks and multiplying by the current rates, the total just to obtain all the ore from the auction house right now would be 687,000 credits. Add that onto your assembly costs, and this ship costs about 1.35 million credits, which can be a lot. That's definitely a big number for a new player. More likely than not, you can save a lot of the money based on just already having a lot of this ore from your previous mining runs. And like I said, this thing pays itself off very quickly. So in 2 to 3 runs, you've already returned all those credits back and you're good to go. And if this is the first time that you've seen or heard of asteroid hauling or asteroid catching, I don't know what the proper term is for it. So you may be wondering, why is asteroid hauling or asteroid catching any better than mining? Well, if you're looking to spend a considerable amount of money into getting a better mining ship or whatever, I'd recommend not doing that, because with one of these ships, you're likely looking for multiple large asteroids. You may have over 100 ore crates on your mining ship, and you'll need to fill all of those up. And because of that, you're probably going to be targeting mega asteroids whenever possible. That's the ultimate goal, is to find a mega asteroid or a T10 rock that has almost entirely the ore you need and nothing else. So since you're already going further into the belt to find these mega asteroids, theoretically, are about flying the same distance, and you're spending the same amount of time flying and hunting for these mega asteroids. With an asteroid catcher, you skip a huge chunk of that time mining the actual rock, either by hand or by a mining laser, an ore collector array. You spend virtually no time trying to obtain and collect this rock, because all you have to do with the Mastodon, as well as a couple of other designs I'll show you in a little bit, all you have to do is literally just navigate your ship to capture it, to literally just fly right into it and catch it within the cargo lock. And that's it. You've got the rock in your ship. You don't have to do anything else. And sure, when you get back to the station, you're not going to be getting the same prices as the auction house, but when you haul an asteroid back to the station, it pays out, for whatever reason, nearly 1.59 times the amount of money that you would get from just selling it individually in stacks to the ore tower. So for whatever reason, the station pays a hefty premium on getting this largely intact asteroid, probably because in theory the station would be able to properly extract all of that material. None of that's explained anywhere. That's just kind of a guess or an explanation that I would give. So if you were to stay inside of the safe zone, and just a disclaimer, zone 1 or the safe zone is 50 kilometers into the belt. That means that even if the belt around the stations is super empty and all of the big rocks are gone, that doesn't stop you from going down to the left or the right side of the belt and just following it along for a bit until you're about 100 or 150 kilometers out, and then diving in to the belt. Far less people are doing that. and you're still protected, so you don't have to worry about hitting any rocks and crashing. And you also can find a bunch of these Zone 1 asteroids in there, especially the mega asteroids that don't really exist. So in each of these asteroids, there's approximately about 270 stacks of ore. So if you were to mine every single voxel within there and capture it all, you'd have about 270 cargo crates worth of ore. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that with just filling it up with ice or anything like that. You'd want to put some more valuable stuff in there. But with an entire asteroid, you get what you get. And when you haul all of it back, in almost every instance, you're actually making more than the auction house. If you were to find a ice rock that had vocarium in it, for example, you would make 370,000 credits from just selling that asteroid entirely. So that's obviously split based on the price, or based on how much vocarium there is, as well as ice. That you'll get two separate transactions for each of those materials. So if you were to find nergite crystal encased in ice, that asteroid would be worth 574,000 credits. Again, split between the two transactions. But if you were to sell this on the auction house separately with the ice and nergite, you would be making only 403,000 credits. And with tax and everything like that, it could be even less. So you're making over 40% just by doing that with nergite. If you go to Tritium, the number kind of jumps up a little bit here. With an asteroid that has Tritium core and an agitite shell, you're actually going to be making around 615,000 credits for that rock. Obviously this changes because there's not like obviously this is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes the rock may be a few thousand smaller here or there, or it may be larger, but roughly you'll be getting 615,000 credits from a Tritium mega asteroid. If you were to sell all of that Tritium on the auction house, as well as the agitite, you would be making 446k. And most importantly, you're saving all of that time that you're not mining, because you're still looking for these big rocks, but you're not spending the actual time to mine them and then collect it all. And then finally, this is the one thing to note. I don't know what the reasoning is on this. I'm not entirely sure. But for whatever reason, Valkite and Bastium is the only rock that you'll be making slightly less than if you were to sell it on the market. Might just be because Bastium has a higher price than it should, or maybe Valkite does. I don't know. But you would be getting 272,000 credits from a Bastium mega asteroid. Whereas if you were to sell all of those ores individually, you'd be getting 276,000. Not a huge difference, and obviously this price changes as the market fluctuates. So if you're not sure if this is a real thing at all or not, I'm happy to show you what my transactions have been in just the past 3 days here. So you can see almost all of my transactions here have been solely just hauling asteroids. And in 3 days, I'm going to be honest, I haven't played much in one of these days, but in 3 days I was able to acquire 20 million credits. And it's super simple, really. All you have to do is just, for a good chunk of this time, I was still using the Mastodon, but pretty quickly after I saw the money to be made from this, I reached out to a few people in my company to see if they could build a better version. And in fact, they did. So I'm gonna just quickly showcase one of those. So this ship that I'm showing is called the Asteroid Catcher, and it looks like it's very bare bones, and that's because it is. The only thing about it is that, so it's got a ton more batteries, way more box thrusters, and they're all tier 2 box thrusters. So this thing is a powerhouse. It will get you from point A to point B super quickly. And when it's fully loaded with 2 rocks, you still have a pretty significant speed. I believe when we measured it, it was around 115 fully loaded, 115 meters per second. Whereas on the Mastodon, if you fill up your ship with just 2 asteroids, you're going to be hauling that back at 55 to 60 meters a second, which is forever. So it'll take a long time, but you make a good amount of money. But with the asteroid catcher, you don't really have to worry about that. You can go further into the belt and come back much more quickly, because, you know, the further you go out, the more mega asteroids there will be, and there's some sort of reward to that sort of risk. You can see it's got a pretty sizable chunk back here dedicated to fuel rods and generators, as well as hydrogen tanks. And you can make a few runs on this before it does need to be all replaced. These are all tier 2 fuel rods, so they do typically last longer. But yeah, that's a ship that we have within the company. It's not for sale, sorry. But if you're interested in something like this, it is a ship that's been making the rounds within our company. So this is a soft pitch. So if you're interested in getting access to ships sort of like this, I'd recommend joining the Silverlight Industries. So this ship isn't for sale. So if you're interested in finding out more about this ship or seeing what else my company has to offer, we're actually called Silverlight Industries, and I'll include a Discord link in the description if you're looking for a community to join. Mostly it's a industry focused company, so there's a lot of mining trips that we'll make together, or eventually when station building becomes a thing, it's going to be a big focus, as well as the moon bases whenever they end up coming out. If that's something you're interested in, definitely check out that link below and check it out. One last feature to showcase about this ship is that in the Mastodon, every time you want to bring a new asteroid in, you have to unlock the cargo lock and just turn off that field, and then move your ship to capture it. That's a problem because everything inside of the cargo lock becomes just free moving once you go ahead and unlock. So if you have a bunch of different rocks in there and you want to bring one more in, you have to make sure there's enough clearance to actually do that. Otherwise they'll hit the back or side of your ship and everything will shift around, and sometimes the rocks will glitch right through. So that's not fun. It's very scary. You don't want to do that outside of the safe zone at all. So this ship incorporates a design of including 3 separate bays to capture 3 separate mega asteroids, so that, you know, when you're going in, you can capture the very first rock all the way in the back bay, lock it there, and then as you fill your ship, you fill it back to front, which makes it super easy, much more manageable, less opportunity for all 3 of your mega asteroids to get launched or just despawn somehow. So with that, I'd recommend if you've got some spare credits laying around, maybe some extra ore, I'd recommend at least trying it out with the Mastodon and doing a couple runs. It's going to take a while, but that payoff is super sweet when you get it. And it may even inspire you to build your own ship or design your own ship. And if you're not as much of a designer for ships, you can always join Silverlight Industries and, you know, maybe bug one of these owners into getting that ship. Again, that Discord link is in the description, and hopefully there you'd be able to bug one of our designers who has a couple of these laying around. If you guys found this video helpful and you want to see more content like this from me, it means a lot to just go ahead and drop a like. Let me know what you think in the comments, and consider subscribing so you can be notified the next time I drop a video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.